Dang, it feels good to be a fan of the New York Knicks, man. I don't know if I've ever had this much fun in my life watching the New York Knicks. They win their 9th game in a row. They beat the Pacers 109-105 without Julius Randle, without OG Anunoby, and without Quentin Grimes. But you know who they did have? They had the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. They had the light-skinned dude, number 11, the lefty, out of Villanova, Jalen Brunson. Get those MVPs in the chat. What this guy does on a night-to-night basis, it's art. The ability for him to consistently show up and be the best player on the floor when they play the Pacers, when they play the Heat, when they play the Nuggets, when they play the Timberwolves, when they play the Lakers, when they play the Clippers. He's the best player on the floor. Becky Hammon, you should apologize again. Candace Parker, you should apologize again. Kenny Smith, you should apologize. You uttered out of your mouth, Kenny Smith, that Paolo Banchero is better than Jalen Brunson. You should be fired, and you should never be allowed to talk NBA again. This guy is the best point guard in the NBA. I think he is a top 10 player in the NBA, and I am dead ass serious. He should be in the MVP conversation. When you boil it down to value, who is more valuable to their team than Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson missed 2 games 2 weeks ago. They played the Memphis Grizzlies. No Desmond Bane, no Ja Morant, no Jaren Jackson, no Steven Adams. The Memphis Grizzlies suited up 8 players, and the Knicks barely won. Jalen Brunson, thank you. Thank you for choosing to play basketball for the New York Knicks. You epitomize what that means. You embody everything it means to be a New Yorker. And I will speak for everybody that watches this channel, and I will speak for everybody that has ever worn anything orange and blue that says the Knicks. Thank you, because you changed all of our lives. You are special, and I hope that you feel the love from us. Everybody get the MVPs in the chat. Everybody get, oh my gosh, this guy is special. He had help tonight, though. Probably could have used a little bit more of it. Dante DiVincenzo could not make a shot to start this game. He's made a couple shots to start this game, but then he went through about 3-quarter stretch. Not hitting a shot. Missed 9 threes in a row. But you know what he did in the fourth quarter? He had a big-time triple. He had a big-time step back, too. He got to the lane. He created. I was told he was overpaid, too. But honestly, if I had 2 game balls tonight, one goes to Jalen Brunson, and the other one goes to Precious Achiuwa. What Precious Achiuwa did today was truly remarkable. Sure, he went 5 of 16. I don't care. He had 16 rebounds. 8 of them were offensive. He had 4 steals. He had 2 blocks. And he did a beautiful job of guarding Pascal Siakam, who finished with 18 points and was a -10. Precious Achiuwa was a +7, the second highest on the Knicks tonight. What him and Hardenstein did on the glass, 19 boards from Hardenstein. How many of those were offensive putbacks? How many times were second chance points? 8 offensive rebounds for Hardenstein. 8 offensive rebounds for Precious Achiuwa. Those guys were phenomenal. 12, 19, and 6. Let's stop saying that he's a good feel-good story and a good backup. Isaiah Hardenstein is a top 15, 20 center in this league. It's not even close. What about Miles McBride? What about Miles McBride? He comes in the end of the third quarter and bucket, and bucket, and bucket, and bucket. 16 points, 3 of 8. The Knicks offense struggled when Brunson came out of the court. Miles McBride carried the load. Josh Hart was terrible for 40 minutes. Josh Hart was terrible for the first 40 minutes of the game. But then when that fourth quarter came around, something just flipped in his head. The switch flipped. Offensive rebounds. 3 for him, 9 defensive, 3 assists. Josh Hart was awesome. Tyrese Haliburton, He was pretty good in the first quarter, pretty good in the second quarter, and he was talking a lot. Like he threw down a dunk, and then he started jaw jacking with Dante DiVincenzo. And then he didn't play in the fourth quarter. I know there's a minutes restriction. Where's the heart at? How do you talk shit in the first quarter? How do you talk shit in the second quarter? How do you run back and do all this little shenanigans, tick-tock and ass, and you don't even play in the fourth? Should be embarrassed. The league should be embarrassed. He's an all-star starter. And you, if you've ever said that Tyrese Haliburton is better than Jalen Brunson, you should be embarrassed. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Free informative content every day. And check out our sponsor, PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. PrizePicks is daily fantasy sports made easy. All you do is create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply choose more or less on their projected stat line. PrizePicks is the number one way to play daily fantasy sports. It's a whole lot of fun, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. That information will be clickable down in the comments and description. I'm sorry that we've gotten this far in the game, and I didn't mention how bad the refs were. The Knicks didn't just beat the Pacers. They just beat the Pacers without Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle and OG Anunoby and Quentin Grimes, 4 guys that were starters on this team. They also beat the refs. The refs were horrendous. This was the worst ref game in the NBA I have ever seen. It was awful. And Niall Demetri, you're right there. How many times did Jalen Brunson go to the lane and get whacked and they didn't call it? How many times did Jalen Brunson fall on the ground and they didn't call it? But you know what? He fought through it and he got the job done. Niall Demetri, you're a real one. Creed says how Brunson was talking. He's going to remember this game for a long time. He had chills. He couldn't speak. 10 minutes after the game, he's talking to Alan Hahn on MSG, and not a soul left their seat at Madison Square Garden. Everybody was on their feet. Everyone gave him a standing ovation. And I'm getting chills talking about it. I'm sure he was getting chills talking about it. Special performance from him. Scott Hearnen, $5 super chat. What up, Scott? Yeah, buddy. Holy crap, Marsh. I thought you were great with the New York Giants. You are on fire for Knicks games, baby. What's up, Seeps? Go Knicks. Scott, I appreciate that. We're just trying to do what we can. The number one place on YouTube to watch a Knicks game live with over 19,000 people in the building. Can't duplicate that. Can't replicate that. The sauce is original. J Liv, there is nothing in NYC like a hot Knicks team. 9 in a row. 9 in a row. 15 out of the last 17. You won 10 games in January by more than 15 points. This team is special, and they can compete to get to the NBA Finals. John Musgrove says, the Bucks were coming for you. We were talking about the 3 seed. Let's talk about the 2 seed. Are the Bucks going to be able to hold that? Knicks are 1 game back. Hold on. What about the 1 seed? Because the Lakers just beat the Boston Celtics, and the Lakers didn't have LeBron or AD. The Knicks might F around and be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Daniel Rodriguez. But Marshall, Brunson's shots were sharper than your widow's peak. Let's go Knicks. Marshall, he's too small. Marshall, he's overrated. Marshall, he's overpaid. He was only good because of Brunson. Marshall, I don't need any more lefties. Marshall, I don't want another 6'4" guard. He is the best player to wear a Knicks uniform since Patrick Ewing. And it's not even close. RTY Gamer, Brunson 40-piece, called it. You know ball. Johnson, what does an extension for Brunson look like? The highest amount of money you could pay a player in the NBA. Whatever his max is, you give him that. And then give him 10% of Madison Square Garden because he owns it. You know who else he owns? This guy. Can we stop it? Can we stop saying that Tyrese Haliburton is better than Jalen Brunson? Can we please stop saying it? Please. If you were the best point guard in the East, you wouldn't be the 6th seed. If you were the best point guard in the East, you would have made the playoffs last year. Can we see him elevate his game in the playoffs before we put him in a conversation where we saw Jalen Brunson average 40 points in back-to-back closeout games against Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat and the team that won the East? Come on, man. Come on, man. Hop on. Hop on. Hop on the bandwagon. Plenty of room. Plenty of room. This team's special. This team is special. And we're going to be here to keep you guys up to date all season long. We'll be documenting every single game. That's why you subscribe to this channel. Sub for Knicks Dubs. They're on their way to the number 1 seed. And Jalen Brunson, you are a bad man. Bad man.